as a sheep, back on the highways and byways. Once again, prophesying the downfall of America, aka Babylon the Great. We are the Hebrew Israelites, prophesying to the Hebrew Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, before we begin, let's first start off by giving our praise, our honor, and our glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Kapadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone, Shalom, and Shalom to those who live. Alright, and as you can see, today's camp title will be basically summer draweth nigh, right? It says, ye see and know your own selves that summer is not. Alright, so when we say summer is not, of course the actual season summer is approaching, alright? But summer as in the end of the world, alright? End of Esau Edom, alright, the end of America. And you know, when ultimately, alright, the prophecy has seasons, alright, just as the world has, you know, summer, winter, spring, fall, prophecy also has seasons, alright, where things come to pass, okay? When things delay, alright, things die, things wither away. Alright, so we are in a time where things, because you got to think about it. When summer come around, things are full. Alright, things are almost finished. Alright, as far as like trees. Alright, even I think bears come out of hibernation. So everything is in sync. Alright, prophecy is in sync with ultimately with the Lord. Alright, but with the prophets. Alright, because we have to speak these things in order for them to come to pass, right? So in order for, you know, the next season to come to pass, the prophets have to be on the highways and byways. So we play a part also in, you know, the season changes as far as the prophecy. Right? Got something?
I started this second Ezra 9, 1, this one but saying that the prophecy had a season, right? But you know, how we was going to last night as well, you know, there were signs set up for us to see. You know, the season change, you know, like how he's saying with summers now, right? You know, to the parable the Yahushua gave Matthew 24, I was speaking, you know, before he went into that parable, he was naming, you know, wars, rumors of war. He was telling them these things which you would see, and you gonna know that, you know, summer's now referring to the end of this place is at hand, right? This second Ezra 9 and 1, where it says, says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before. And real first of that parable how was cussing them out back in the 16, when I was mistaken, when they couldn't so you can discern the sky. You know, because he was cussing them out. You know, because of the gravity now. But you got it. You can read. You break it down.
I want to break it down. Here's scripture that I wanted yesterday, y'all. Matthew 16 and 1, it said the Pharisees also with the Sadducees came, tempted, desiring him that he would show them a sign from heaven. He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, he said it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. Also,
I say, just how, even how we was going into yesterday, how, you know, Jake, you know, they're ignored, you know, well, not even they ignore, they don't see these signs, you know, but they don't have the spiritual eye to see them. At the same time, they're ignored the prophets on how it's always telling them, let them know these things are at hand, you know. And when, you know, a lot of Jake claim, you know, especially these Christians or whatever they is, claim they read the Bible, they claim they study the Bible, you know, the main thing is I read the Bible. When you read the Bible, it's going to tell you how there's things set to show you when that time is, when the Son of Man, Yahushua, you know, Messiah is coming back to deliver his people, which are the Hebrew Israelites. There's signs to show when this kingdom will fall, right?
Verse 2, KJV, he said, he answered and said unto them, when it is evening, ye say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red, and in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, you can discern the face of the sky, but can you not discern the signs of the times, right? Like the brother wanted to, you know, Matthew the 24th chapter, Yahushua gave his disciples a list of things to let us know the signs that indicates his return, right? And what we want to know signs, right? Rumors of wars, the false prophets, the false messiahs, et cetera, and et cetera. But he gives them signs so we're not blind to know. Because while he gonna come to the deep in the night to majority of the world, so while they're not paying attention, right? They're gonna be caught lacking in a sense, right? But us prophets, right, we're on our watchtowers, we're gonna see these signs and know, okay, man, we got a couple more prophecies to be fulfilled until how shall break the sky and make his return.
Now I finish off in chapter 9, right? It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And even when you go through the accounts throughout the scriptures, you will see that even before the prophets, the sister Mary, how about Shah, they was seeking out that deliverer. They was seeking out when that time would come, right? So in that comforter, which the Spirit, it comes to us and allow us to understand and see the signs, see the things that's going on around us. For us to understand it's getting closer and closer to that time. Summer is not. You're getting closer to that time to where in this place is falling, man. This place is coming to an end.
Kind of what's part of the sign, right? You got Esau being revealed, right? You got the prophets on the highways and byways. You got more and more chariot sightings, right? You got the Lord, bringing earthquakes, tsunamis, right? These things going around. You got the wars, you got the pestilence going out, you got plagues going out, a lot of diseases going out, right? We're seeing famines happening, right? We're seeing a lot of these things are going on, man. These are the signs that Yahushua gave us to let us know.
And real quick, how do we measure time? We measure time through the scriptures. All right, we don't need a weatherman. We don't need News Channel 4. All right, to tell us what the Lord already told us. Right?
I got a precept.
This is Ephesians 5:15 again. Just going into like the present point. The times that we're in. Or even like you just read, it was at Matthew 16. How can you claim to be a Bible believer, a church goer, so on and so forth? You love God, this and that. But you don't know the scriptures. You don't know the prophecies. You don't know the things He told you, things He told you to look out for, so on and so forth, right? So Ephesians 5:13, right? It says, "See then that you won't circumspect me, not as fools but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." Redeeming the time, meaning what? Basically knowing the times that you're in, understanding all the things of this time, the nature of this world, the wickedness that you see on a day-to-day basis, on a constant basis, right? You should know these things. You should understand, right, that this is not the time to be like they was in the days of Noah, right? When you're just, for lack of a better term, willy-nilly just living your life as a regular Jacob or a regular Edomite, a regular Babylonian, right? You have to, like I said, right?
Quick point to add on. Dealing with that was a great point. And going back to the seasons. All right. So if it's fall or it's winter, you dress accordingly, right? All right. If it's the end of the world, then you should walk accordingly, right? What's that precept? Knowing what conversation you got to be in. Roughly paraphrasing.
Quick precept off of that. If you were going to your point. Because that made me think of that parable where we're talking about missing that wedding garment. Right? You have that wedding garment. Right? So this is Matthew 22, and I really get straight to the point. Right? Verse 11 it says, "And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there was a man which had not on a wedding garment. He said to him, Friend, how camest thou hither not having a wedding garment?" And he was speechless. Right? So what? He wasn't prepared. He didn't have like you said, he was dressed accordingly. He wasn't dressed accordingly. He wasn't well versed in the scriptures. He didn't know the prophecies. He didn't understand the times, right? So how can you think that you're going to be a part of the elect? How you going to think you're going to be beating up in the chariots and you didn't prepare? Right?
People that pair with 5 wise and 5 fools as well. This is another precept to go out there as well. Revelation 19, I started 7. It said, "Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to Him, for the marriage of the Lamb is Yahushua, has come, and His wife, which is the elect, have made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For linen is the righteousness of the saints," right? So you got to be clothed in that righteousness, Ultimately, that knowledge, understanding Yahushua. There's another precept in Revelation. Can't take what it verse saying, lest ye be naked, right? You're not clothed in that armor of Yahweh Shah, not clothed in the proper clothing of Yahweh Shah. You now understand the truth, walking in that order, man. You know, preparing yourself for the time to come, for the season to come, right? You know, if this world from the end, by the fact, so you clothe this world from the end, you think you should be out here trying to build life, build wealth, build all those things. No, you should be in this time returning back, right, to Yahweh Shah.
See, it shows you that the Lord has a standard, all right, and He requires a standard. Like on certain jobs, like on my job, you have to have a uniform, all right. So the Most High Yahweh He requires you to wear a certain thing, to walk a certain way, right? You can't come in, you can't come out. Even on the highways and byways, you can't come out any kind of way. So how much more coming to the Lord, right?
Quick precept I got in 2 Peter. Genesis 49:1 says, and Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Gather yourselves together, hear you sons of Israel, and hearken unto your father. Right? So it's for that time to gather yourself together, get yourself prepared. Because we in these last days, man. We at that time where summer is not, man. We at that time to where, you know, wisdom and knowledge is the ability of that time. So if you ain't clothed in the humility, the righteousness of Yahweh Shah, you're going to be lost out here running around, bugged out. You ain't going to know what's going on because winter came and you still walking around here with shorts on. But now the summer is not. So now it's time to end this place. You walking around here with a big bubble coat on. You ain't prepared, man. You lost. You confused. Right? That's how bugged out J.K. White scripture say. It's like they were around in the streets like a wild bull in the net. Because they don't know what's going on. They started shooting. They foolish. You know? To wise to do good, they have no knowledge, right? So to be in that righteous state, once again, the parable of the five wise and the five foolish, right? They not fully prepared. So when the time comes, guess what? Yahweh Shah is, you know, he bring that deliverance for the ones who prepare. And preparing don't just start. Not ultimately for some, they can come in during this time, right? But if you understand that we at that end point. You know, if you're not really in this thing, you're not in this thing. So now it's for you to be prepared and to be strengthen yourself in the spirit of probably how about Shah to get prepared for the time to come. Because we know in these last days it's gonna be harsh for Jake. It ain't just these last days Babylon just gonna fall over. We know what destruction is gonna come for this place through the spirit of probably how about Shah. Like the brother mentioned at the beginning of the account about prophecy. We also know that prophecy has come to pass. Jacob trouble, right? You know. Famine of the word, not just famine of the word, famine of food, famine of life. There's gonna be famines in the land, right? This 2 Peter, and I started verse 10, right? It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought you be in holy conversation and godliness? What are we gonna say?
You can go into it, but I just want to add on. You know, it's just showing you that only one thing is gonna stand. All right, only one thing is gonna stand against that fire. All right, the lake of fire, and that's not the material things. All right, it's not the things we gain on this side. All right, but those spiritual things, right? Those spiritual treasures.
Like it says, what is that? Revelation 20. Right, where it says those the first resurrection, those ones who second death have no effect, who second death they can't come again.
And just to add on that, the lake of fire is the second.
The fire stress upon America. But I'm gonna read 2 Peter 3 and 11. I'm gonna read it in NLT. Right, it says since everything around us is going to be destroyed like this. I read it in 10 how everything burnt forever heat. Right, it says since everything around us is going to be destroyed like this, what holy and godly lives should you live? Right? So what you think you should be doing? You know, if summer, the scriptures tell you, it's prophecy, things that are set, these things come to pass, these signs and wonders, right? This how you know in Deuteronomy 28, right, when they explain the curses that come upon these, and he say these should be a signs and wonders to you, that's how you know that we're the Israelites, right? We know that we're the Israelites because we going through these curses. We the ones who face these are signs and wonders that we see. So just as well as the brother read, Matthew 16, while Yahweh cussing them out, you can see when the sky, you can look at the sky, see when it's gonna be sunny, rainy, but you can't look at the time when you hearing America attacking this country, taking this, America doing this, America doing that. You got Russia and China doing things together. The little link that I was reading a few weeks ago, was talking about how I think it was Russia and China had shot some type of some type of like bomb or something like that, you know, without the U.S. agreeing on whatever it was, right? They doing little things and showing you that, hey, the rumors and wars are sparking up. These are things that Yahweh Shah told us that would come to pass. And you gonna see that summer's not the end of this near, man. You know. But we can go back to the quarter.
I had a preset point that you was bringing out earlier. How you was talking about. You said something specific. What did you say? Oh, you was like wintertime is here, or you was like it's wintertime. You was like you still got shorts and things like that. But I was just thinking how, you know, the way of the Lord, right? He thinks what, you know, all these other people they following after their own ideals, and they following after Jesus Christ. They following after God, which they don't really know. They don't know the true Father, right? Basically, and then you got, you know, Jake who want to be Muslim, Jake who want to be, you know, Buddhist and things of that nature. So, so this is Judges 10 and 14, because like you said, when you're not prepared, when you don't have the right garment on, when you don't got the right stuff on, and you're unaware, right? You're not calling on the true names of the Heavenly Father, right? He gonna have this attitude, right? So Judges 10 and I started 13, right? It says, "Yet ye have forsaken me and served other gods. Wherefore I will deliver you no more. Go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation." Right? So it's basically, you know, he's not gonna have nothing to do with them at the time of destruction, right? Because they have to be destroyed. Of course, you know, through the regeneration, you know, they'll come through, but they're gonna have to get their destruction. Right? He's not gonna be dealing with your 2/3 in that sense. He's only gonna be dealing with the elect.
Doesn't got no pride going to go to Matthew 24. Right, I'm gonna read verse 6. Read verse 6 and a little bit down, then I'm gonna jump down. I'm gonna jump down to verse 34. Starting, but Matthew 24 and 6, right? It says, "Ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Right? It made me think of Exodus chapter 6, where it goes into the trans. I think it's Exodus 6 and 7. I'm mistaken, where it goes into speaking of the transition, right? From transition of period, transition of time from Babylon, Esau, America going down to Jacob coming up, right? But it says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom." Well, I mean, we're not seeing that now. Even with the dude Charlie Kirk getting you know, what happened to him, that's sparking a lot of controversy between you know, with the inside between Democrat and Republican. They going at each other with situations like that. You know, with this ICE thing, you having the inside civil war sparking up, the states going against the federal government. Right? It says nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilence, and earthquakes, and diverse places. Diverse means different. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Right? I can figure out what he said. "Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, shall hate one another." Right? And start leaving at that point, right? I'm gonna jump down to a point, right? You know, just reading that so you can see how I was telling them what the signs and things you're gonna see, right? Many shall hate one another, rumors of war, things that such, right? So he explained it, then he goes to destruction, things that's gonna happen, right? So verse 32, right? He says, "Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know that summer is not." So that's kind of self-explanatory. Like brother explained that earlier, you know. Summer come around, spring come around. You see the grass getting more green. You see the trees coming back. You see the, you know, fruit starting to grow back in. You see animals starting to come back out or whatnot, right? It says, "So likewise, ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door." Right? It says, "Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled." And when you go into verse 33, it says, "So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors." That what it's talking about is the deliverance. Because when you go up, 24:31, it's talking about how the elect come together for the four winds, but also not just delivered, the destruction. Right? So you gonna know that it's near, it's here. You gonna know that's the time to come, but the summer is not. You've been had time to prepare. You've been had time to get on point, right? You've been had time, to clean your act up. You know what you got going on. You know what you're doing, right? But you chose to what? You chose to play around. You chose to act like you don't see what's going on around you. right? So now the summer is here. Now that it done hit, ain't no turning back from it. Now remember, it's a thief in the night, you know.
Quick precept, Proverbs 8:34. It says, blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the post of my doors. Right? Just going into like the brother saying, 'cause that's what the elect will be doing. That's what the men of the Lord, the prophets, you know, that's what we're doing. We're waiting at those doors. We're sitting here, you know, preparing ourselves, right? Because what? We're at the time, right? 'Cause we know the days of week. That's just quick precept. Proverbs 8 and I'll just read 32 or 33. Hear instruction and be wise and refuse it not. Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the post of my doors.
And that's what I wanted right there, because you want to be waiting right there, because why? You don't want to be one of the ones that's standing outside the door when the Lord shut the door, right? So this is Luke 13 verse 25, and it reads, when unto the master of the house is risen up, the house shut to the door, and you begin to stand without, and to knock at the door, saying, Lord, Lord, really, Yahweh, he says, open unto us, and he shall answer and say unto you, I know you not, whence ye are. And that's exactly how it's going to be with the brothers that, or, you know, and sisters that fell out of the truth, right, that went back into the world, right, that was lukewarm, right, and things of that such, right. Continue on, verse 26. This how you begin to say, we have eaten and drunk in our presence, and thou hast taught in our streets. And that's how they're going to try to do it. They're trying to complete it, right? Oh Lord, man, I was out on the highways of byways back to 2025, but you know, I did a lot of lessons, and I know put on this countless many people, and it's center, the Lord still gonna tell you what? Verse 27, but he shall say, I tell you, I know you not, where she are. Depart from me, all you workers of iniquity. Right, so just because you did the works in the past doesn't mean that you're going to be saved. Because you know, once you, like it speaks about Ezekiel 18th chapter, right? That righteous man that turning back to his wicked ways, he's going to be killed, right? He's going to die. Right, so just because you did the work back in your past time, when you went back to the world, it doesn't mean that all thing you did was waste your time.
Also, they ain't even when you back Matthew 24, what it said, he that do it to the end, right? So they ain't keep that faith to the end, right? I got a precept going up there, right? It's Hebrews 4:1, very fast. In NLT, I read it in NLT, right? It says, Yahweh's promise of entering his rest still stands. So we ought to tremble with fear. What is that? Psalms 2:11, serve him with fear and trembling, right? Fear is the beginning of knowledge and wisdom, right? He says, so we ought to tremble with fear that some of you might fail to experience it. But why? Right? It says, for this good news that Yahweh has prepared, this rest has been announced to us, just as it was announced to them. So it's been announced to us, it's been announced to them. That's why Yahweh, he set those watchmen, he set men up, right? He set men up. So when he said, give them warning for me, it's been announced to everybody. The internet, we live right now. Anybody can watch this, right? He says, but it did to them no good because they didn't share the faith of those who listen to Yahweh, right? So they didn't keep the ones who heard it and fell away, they didn't keep that faith to the end. And the other ones, they don't got the faith, which ultimately is a gift given unto us to have that faith until the end, or have that faith to believe and understand. So many would see it and be like, oh man, he tripping, man. We always heard war. They always been talking about war. They been talking about war for forever. They been talking about this for forever, right? They been talking about this and that for forever. But hey, they don't want to pay attention to it. But hey, we got the faith, and we know. That's why I said at the beginning, we ought to serve with fear and trembling, because we know Yahweh Shah power, man. We know he can get it popping at any time, any moment, right?
That's why I said that's the beginning of sorrows. Right? The wise from the beginning, because obviously I have to wait for the rest of these prophecies to be fulfilled, as in what the dollar, the crowd, the MOTB, right? The family of the word, right? And et cetera, right? Because these things came from the past here. So until the MOTB be made military, right? You just want to bring that up? But before you bring that up, let me read this verse. Y'all got a piece up going out there. So this is Matthew 13, verse 22, straight to the point, going out the brother point, right? How they never have the faith into the end, right? That's really because why? The cares of this world, right? And you also got is that 1 Timothy 4 or 1, or is that 2 Timothy 4? When we talk about they get onto the seducing spirits and doctrine of the devil in 2 Timothy 4. Like, I don't know if it's 1 Timothy or 2 Timothy. I know it's 4 and 1 though.
I think it is.
Matthew 13 and verse 22, right? And it reads, he also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and it become unfruitful, man. That's gonna be a lot of brothers and sisters, in this gospel, right, in this ministry, they're gonna become unfruitful because of why? The cares of this world. At the end of the day, especially when MOTV be made mandatory, because a lot of people are going to, take it just so they can be able to provide for their families and things of that such, right? And just because I said I'm gonna bring this out, Jeremiah 16. I'll start at verse 1. It says, the word of the Lord Yahweh came also unto me, saying, thou shalt not take thee a wife, neither shalt thou have sons or daughters in this place. And why did he say that? Because one of the many reasons people are going to take the MOTV, because of why? Because of their family, right? They're going to see their children or their wife or whoever the case may be, on their deathbed or, on their last breath. And, they're going to be in their ear telling them, hey, you the man. You gotta be the one to provide. Right, but if you got a knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, right, Isaiah 33:6, that smart man would not sit there and take that MOTB, and he'll tell his family not to take it as well. Right, just like going back to the woman's dream that she had, how her husband said he'll be the one to take the chip, so since he the man, so he can provide for the family. Right, but that's retarded as hell, man. He ain't nothing but a stupid man. So why that wise man gonna tell the whole family, man, hey, don't take that, and we're willing to die for your house by seeing y'all shot this once you take the chip, that'll be the worst decision you'll ever make in your life. That's why you ultimately doing it, right? Ain't no salvation, ain't no repentance, ain't no none of that, man. You do.
Right. Good point. When we think about when you read about the children, about people gonna take care of their children, whatnot. In Ecclesiastes, they say nothing on the son. When you read in Luke 23, right? Even in Luke 20. 21, right? It says, woe to those who give sucking those days, because ain't nothing on the sun. That's the same, not necessarily the same thing, but it's the same tribulation people faced back then. And you had times when people was doing what? Eating their children, kill, things to get by, man. On this side, and then maybe think about, through the Spirit, maybe think about Matthew 24 and 24. And also Revelation 16 and 13, the miracles that Esau can do, to trick them and deceive them, to make them want to, take care of their children, the technology, the things they can do. That's going to be that them signs and wonders that they'll do to deceive those 2/3, to make them be like, man, you know what? I'm going to take this chip, man. I'm going to get by it, right? I'm going to take this chip so I can, like you're saying, provide or be there for my family. That's why, the Most High allowed America to get to where it's at. That's why he put that spirit on them to be able to do the things that they can do, so they'll be able to see those 2/3. But Romans 8 tell you, ain't nothing gonna pull the elect away. No matter what's going on, no matter whether it comes to the children, mother, father, brother, no matter what it is. Because what Yahweh Shai said, hey, when they ask Yahweh Shai, hey, where your family? Your family looking for you. What do you tell them? My family is, the ones who's doing the word,
My father.
This is Mark 8:35, right? Just going to that point, people gonna be willing to get that MOTB, that R5DC, right, for family reasons, or for a friend, or for themselves, or anything of that nature, right? But Mark 8:35, whosoever will save his life shall lose it, right? So you trying to get this MOTB, you trying to get these things to save your life, to keep yourself preserved in this world, right? But that's not the way to go, right? Because continuing on, it says, whatsoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospel's, the same shall save it, right? So that's how you're gonna save your life, right? Because we understand, this is not our risk, right? Just like that we're in right now. It's like it really don't mean nothing in a carnal sense, right? In a fleshly sense. We're only here to really be built up in the spirit, right? To get back to our original body, to get back to our original state, which is that heavenly angelic state of being.
And that's really the our whole purpose. Yahweh Shai, he was here. He understood that whole purpose, man. That we ain't nothing you can do on this side that can harm us. We look at, of course, that's part of the suffering you face. Because that's why we need everlasting change. You're gonna have those feelings. You're gonna have those thoughts. You're gonna have those things that try to pull us. That goes into the straight gate. Those inner demons that trying to trick you and get you, try to grab you up like, hey man, you might take that chip, man. You got children, or man, they gonna get your mom, they gonna get your brother, get your sister. But we look at them like, man, they ain't gonna get it. They're not meant to get it, but we that's the testing. You know, Pastor Hall always say, you know, that MOTB gonna be that ultimate test for everybody. You know, even the men who out on the highways, that's gonna be the ultimate test. You're gonna see who really rocking, because you're gonna see at that point, like, ones who really understand, like, well, I ain't gonna lie, see you in the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, we gonna have that knowledge, and understanding, because we gonna receive all things. We gonna be able to see, though. You know, we gonna be able to understand and see those things, right? And ultimately, everybody else gonna be coming in through the elect seed. Lord, we'll be up that number that hopefully elect seed, right? But we gotta tell them, man. You know, see you on the other side, man. You know, we gotta see you on the other side. You know, and that's the point of being in this faith. You know, having that suffering. Revelation, I want to say that 9. You know, the bitter and the sweet. Yeah, it's good about the kingdom, things that such, but you know, this time to come. That's why I said, man, summer is not. He gave us signs of wonders so we can see. Because ultimately, not only we ain't really supposed to be preparing ourselves physically. We want to be real. I mean, of course, we want to be working out. So we don't have to run, things that such. But ultimately, you want to be prepared mentally, man, because it's gonna be a real spiritual battle we're gonna have to face at that point to where, hey, well, you gonna take this shit for your people. If not, and ultimately, Esau watching. Esau see you at these camps. So when they do come, they coming at us. Like, yeah, man, we know you, hey, and you better, they ain't gonna be coming to Mount Brothers. They gonna, hey, you better take this chip or we gonna get rid of everybody.
They gonna use them as bait.
Come on.
They know who we are. Trust me.
This is the book of Job 2. Let's start at 9. It says, then said his wife unto him, dost thou retain thy integrity? Curse God and die. But he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of the Most High, and shall we not receive evil? And all this did not Job sin with his lips. Meaning Job is back today. He won't take the mark. He won't take the MOTB.
Like, he understand that. That goes into you know, having an apostle online, like this, you know, in lesson. Yeah, or also this week, that's going to how you know understanding what you in. You know, what is that precept? Grab it real fast. What's this? Proverbs 4, and all you get, Proverbs 4 and 7, right? Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. And with all that getting, get understanding. You gotta understand what you in, man. This ain't no thing where you gonna get in, it's gonna be apologize, it's gonna be happy. Those ones, they don't know the Lord, man. The ones who think, you know, those Christians, those whatever the religion they got out there, man. All of them, they don't know Heavenly Father, they don't know him, man, because they don't understand that, hey, Most High do good and evil, right? That even to see the Lord's not done it, we know this thing's gonna be coming up against us. The precept you sent to the chat the other day, you know, Most High put that thorn in our flesh, man. But that's that test we're gonna have to face. We're gonna go through a lot of hard things, right? It's gonna be those things. You read it with Job. We went into a sit down. Job went through a lot of things, and we ain't got half as much what Job got. So the thing we gonna go through, you know, what you have to say.
Watch his family die. There's gonna be situations where you may have to rebuke your mama. You have to rebuke your children, rebuke your father, because why? Because they're gonna be the spirit of like, all you gotta do is say the mark. We know you hungry, son. We know you hungry, baby. You wanna eat, baby? Daddy, come get this chip so we can be together. You know what I'm saying? So there's gonna be times when you're gonna have to rebuke people and you're gonna watch a lot of people die, man.
What you actually read? I read Proverbs 4 and 7.
I'm gonna read this real quick. Romans 12 and 1. It said, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Heavenly Father, that you present your body a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto the Heavenly Father, which is your reasonable service, right? And I'm going to the point that was made and when we prayed it out, right? Well, I think because like how Esau don't know who we are and how they gonna use our family as bait and things that says to be able to capture and things that says. But that's why I also say in second Ezra, the 16th chapter, that we're gonna be as pilgrims, right? Because we're gonna always be on the move, right? But us being out here is what we having our bodies as a living sacrifice, right? Because we know we are target, right? We know Esau, Edom gonna be the main ones, targeting us when he try to make out his new world order, right? His new system. And I'm gonna grab this real quick. Second Ezra 16 and verse 7, right? I started 69. He's saying they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. For there shall be in every place in those next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Why is that? Because I will be the ones to resist. Right? We're gonna be the ones that they're gonna be trying to find, and guess what? They may not be able to find it, right? Or if they do, right, they're gonna be trying to get us to what? To blast the Lord name, right? Trying to get us to take the NOTB and things of that such. And us refusing, that's why they're gonna be trying to beat on us, kill us, torture us, and things of that such.
Quick point. Just going into that NOTB. First Corinthians 3 and 16. It says, "Know ye not?" What's the first scripture? That's what they read.
Romans 12:1. About daily sacrifice.
Yeah, read again.
Alright, so this Romans 12:1 says, "I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Heavenly Father, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto the Heavenly Father, which is your reasonable service."
Like I say, it's a reasonable service. Meaning, these bodies that we have currently don't belong to us, right? They all belong to the Most High, right? So that's what that made me think of this. 1 Corinthians 3:16, right? "Know ye not that ye are the temple of the Most High, and that the Spirit of the Most High dwelleth in you?" And here's the real point, right? It said, "If any man defile the temple of the Most High, him shall the Most High destroy. For the temple of the Most High is holy, which temple ye are," right? So if you get that chip, right? If you get that RFID seal, right? You're defiling the temple of the Most High, right? So he has to destroy it, right? When you destroy the thing that was given to you, you gotta what you sow.
I got a good point. Really, both of the points lead to it, right? How you read 2 Ezra 16:70, that great insurrection, and how what we're going into how you read Romans 12 as well, and how you going into First Corinthians 3, 16, how we that temple, right? Lord, Spirit made me also here thank you, just going into, like I mentioned, a lot, with the temple, man. Back then, they do to take down Jerusalem, they do to take down the temple, right? Even now, right? Even now they understand that what? You gotta take down the temple. Which the scripture tells us that what? We are the temple that you let, right? With those spirits about doing that spiritual house. 1 Peter 25. Understand that there's no way to take down the spiritual temple, right? So I was gonna go to the definition, that mark of the beast, because what they want to do, they want to receive a mark, put a mark into our hand, which is ultimately going to defile that temple. Because we're that spiritual temple that's being built. But to defile that temple, they can't come to it. They can't defile the spiritual temple. What are they going to do? They can't, right? So what they want to do is put that mark inside of us to defile that temple, right? Let's see, the charagma, what it says, right? It says a charagma, right? It says a stamp, an imprinted mark of the mark stamped in the forehead or the right hand as the badge of followers of the Antichrist. The mark branded upon horses, stained cards, sculpture, graving of idolatrous images. Right? So ultimately, they want to put that mark into use to defile that temple, right? And how we mentioned, they're gonna want to come against that. How you read 2 Ezra 16, right? 70. That insurrection for those for the Lord, because they understand those are the ones ultimately who have the name, right? They have the name, right? We got that knowledge and understanding of Yahweh Shem Shah. But they want to come against them. They don't want to enforce them. So they're going to use ways around them to try to get them to take that chip, right? But when you understand it, this goes even all the way back to when they came and destroyed our land 66 AD, 70 AD. And you got to think, Yahweh Shah gave signs then for us to escape and get away, right? Hey, we was giving them warning, like, look, Daniel 9, he told them, this ain't nothing like it's going to happen to Jerusalem that's going to happen now. Luke 21 and 20, telling them, hey, he giving them warning what's going to happen. You had ones who listened, and they fled away, right? This Revelation 12, and I started verse 15, right? It says, the serpent cast out the serpent going to Esau Edom, right? The serpent, at the time, it's talking about the Roman army, right? The serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman's going to Israel, that he might cause her to be carried away as a flood. And the earth helped the woman, right? Meaning, we fled all over to West Africa, we fled all over, right? Great diaspora. He said the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. So ultimately, what they tried to do then? They tried to destroy our nation. They tried to destroy our people then. They couldn't because we escaped. We got away. What is that in Psalms? They hold the plan to destroy our people, right? destroy us from being a nation, right? Psalms 83, the whole plan is to cut us off and be a nation. That's what it says. Right? Maybe paraphrase, right? But they couldn't do it then because the earth, Yahweh Shah, the ones who listened, the ones that got away, right? The ones that escaped, right? It says, and the dragon was wroth with the woman, right? The dragon is going to Esau, those elites, right? It was wroth with the woman, meaning mad. They was mad at her, right? The woman going to Israel and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which kept the commandments of Yahweh and had the testimony of Yahweh Shah, Mashiach, right? So we understand today who's that remnant that cut laws, fair walking. That's the elect. So who you think Esau coming up against now? Those elect men, they gonna try to come against that great insurrection of those ones who fear the Lord, man. They coming up against them now, and they know they can't destroy the temple because we ain't no physical temple for them to destroy. So they want to insert that chip inside of you. They want to come to you. Hey, put this chip in you. If you don't, hey, we're gonna kill you, or we kill mom, we kill bro, we kill sister. That's how they coming, man. In fact, they ain't got.
That's why the scripture says, spiritual warfare, right? Spiritual principalities in high places.
Ephesians 6.
In that same chapter, those times you got to put in the breastplate and all that. The Heavenly Father, that's what we want to need. I read it out with the verse 11. So this is the book of Ephesians, chapter 6. And I will start at verse 11, and it reads, I start at verse 10, and it reads, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of the Heavenly Father, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And as we continue to get closer and closer to the end, the left-hand side is going to increase, right? But not only the left-hand side is going to increase, the right-hand side is going to increase as well, right? So now we're going to have harder spiritual battles with these demons. Now demons going to attack every which way, right? Because why? Because we getting stronger through the spirits, and this is what these demons doing. They trying to get stronger themselves and trying to knock you off your course, right? Because why? Our whole goal is to finish the course. So I think it's about, I believe that's 2 Timothy, right? If I'm mistaken. We're talking about finish the course. Right, so let's continue on to verse 13. He said, wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of the Heavenly Father, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is word of the Heavenly Father, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints, right? So the Lord is telling you, and these are the things that you have to do to be able to stand, right? To be able to stand against the evil doing, against the evil thing that's going on. So what like the speech about in 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter, or the 4th chapter, I say, the perilous times, right? 2 Timothy 3rd chapter. God, so this 2 Timothy 3rd chapter 3 and verse 1. Say this now, this also. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come, right? We're living in those perilous times being what? Those dangerous times, right? And you going to second Ezra time talking about how so like I'm trying to word it the best way. Through the age, how wicked they get, y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the earth getting wicked. Wicked through age, right? And we seeing that happening now, man. How we, as with the kids, right? The kids growing up, right? Even to the earth, everything is getting weak and everything is getting wickeder and wickeder.
I was having a conversation with Jake, but he was talking about how basically the younger the generations get, the farther and farther they get away from Yahweh Shah, right? Because of course we know what I'm saying. The Christian church is desperately wicked, of course, right? But they have somewhat of a zeal because they go to church and things of that nature. But as the younger generations come through and through, they're getting farther and farther away from it, right? Because when we came over here as slaves, we still kind of knew we still knew who Yahweh Shah was. Because Because you know how you got like the slave hymns and things like that. You got swing low sweet cherry, right? So they still had an understanding of who they were at a point in time. But then again, like I said, every generation get farther and farther, right? So now Jake, young Jake, they don't give a damn about nothing that the scriptures got to say, right? Because they're just getting wicked through the age, man. They're getting what does it say? The same way knowledge shall increase, the Lord deals in the balance. So wickedness got to increase also.
Man, that's why they're gonna be trying to kill us off. Cause they know if they kill us, there ain't gonna be nobody else to teach, right? About Yahweh, y'all shine the truth, right? So therefore, that's what they're gonna fall right into the new world order, and that's why the Lord's gonna turn back, man, and destroy it.
Young Jays, they're not gonna hesitate. The young Jays not gonna hesitate to do that. They don't got no reason not to. To their knowledge, especially if he saw dangle a little cash in front of him. Actually, why not?
Now, BC, what the Roblox coins called? They going there.
I remember Israel back going to the point. This book, also, the precept Maccabees, the Greeks coming to rule the Edomites. When they came in to rule, I'll read that first. Point. First Maccabees 1. Right, this is after Alexander, he died, and he's part of the kingdom amongst his friends and generals and whatnot, who we grew up with, right? He says, first Maccabees 1 and 9 says, after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so that their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied to the earth. So the Greeks, when they came in, this was the first establishment of the Edomites coming into power. Brothers know it, you quote a piece of what it says, wicked in rulership, wicked in ruler, wicked bear rule, wicked go out into the earth. But I want to read this, right? Because we know that the wicked is in rule, right? And you got that proverb. I'm gonna read this real fast. How you saying, how Jake getting farther and farther away. Because ultimately, what happened when we put away our land in? We got so far from our land because we were so much amongst the other nations. Jake get into that Gentile state of mind, man. They get to that Gentile state of mind, and you got the Hellenist spirit. You got us being amongst the other nations, getting farther and farther from our land. Jake continue to follow in the ways and the ways of these heathen, man. Right. So this is Ecclesiastes 10. I start at verse 1. This is a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. It's well ordered. And a prudent man, just mean the wise man. He think before he move, right? He says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. Right? So we understand it. Who ruled this place? Job 9:24, right? Who are the wicked? Malachi 1 and 4, right? So then read that, I think
12 and 21, right? So this is Proverbs 12 and 21. In the read, there shall no evil happen to the just.
I think is it 23? It's in that chapter where it says where the wicked seduces them.
Oh, okay, verse 26.
26, I'm telling 26.
Alright, so this Proverbs 12 and 26 says the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor.
Because the Most High, he'll take most wicked to Jacob before he take Esau. But he just understand Jacob's going off because why?
But the way of the wicked seduces them.
The way of the wicked seduce them. So we just read Sirach 10 and 1 about how basically the ruler of the city, which America is just a big city, right? Who the ruler of the city is, that's what the man of the people are gonna be. And we're righteous. Lord willing, we're supposed to be righteous. We may have to degenerate plant by doing what? Following the ways of other people. But ultimately, we're supposed to be that holy seed. We got laws and commandments not to do as these nations are doing. But Jake chose those ways because why? The way of the wicked seduced them. The way of the wicked got them bugged out. The way of the wicked, that's what they follow.
You haven't read Proverbs 21.
Now, I think I quoted, but you got it.
I just read it because
They kind of go right along with it.
Proverbs 29 and 2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Right. So the brother might have quoted it, but to reiterate it, like you're saying, the wicked, right? They defile everything. That's why the scriptures tell you, right? We shall eat our bread. I defile her paraphrasing, right? Because everything is defiled, right? Esau coming into power in this world. They have made everything unruly, everything unrighteous, things like that. Right? So you got the elder apostles They try to give us advice on how we should eat, how we should live, what we should work out, things of that nature, because it's everything is bad, right? That's why they say you gotta get the best of the worst, right? Because it's all bad. It's really impossible to get anything clean, fresh, or basically the way the Most High Yahweh Shah originally created it to be in this world.
You gotta pray over it. In that same chapter, you know, verse 16, that's why you gotta pray over it as well, man. Most High cleanse.
Verse 16, Proverbs 29:16 says, when the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases, but the righteous shall see their fall.
So the wicked are multiplied, going back to 1 Maccabees 1:9, with the Greeks, which are the Edomites established their first settlement, right? They multiplied, right? Then they come into the Romans. More wickedness continued, then what? They're back in here again today, right? And we split rulership. So it ain't nothing but wickedness just multiplying to the earth, man.
How you doing, fellas?
You know, how you quoted earlier, the precept, I don't bring it out, but you know how the earth get wicked and wickeder today is because guess who in rulership? That's why the Most High has to bring them down. That's why the Most High has to keep them out of the way, man.
I got a precept. It goes in, it ties into what everything brother's going to. Because, you know, matter of fact, I'm going to address precept first. So, because Esau was appointed to rule at a specific time, all right? So it's no coincidence that we read the wickedness in rule. But this is Psalm 75, and I started at verse 4. It said, I said unto the fool, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked lift not up the horn. Lift not up your horn on high. Speak not with a stiff neck. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but the Most High is the judge. He putteth down one and set up another. So Esau can't say that, this land was, he got it righteous. All right, he can't say that he set up as the ruler of the earth because he deserved it. All right, the Most High put him there. All right, and another preacher, roughly paraphrasing, it says, the kingdom translated from one people to another through
Rich got by the sea.
Rich got by the sea.
And also that we had read in that precept as well how it's going into how Most High set up kings. Daniel 2. Daniel 2:20. You can bring it up.
Let me grab this verse real quick. This was the bishop precept. This is Ecclesiastes 3 and 1. It says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven.
And even how you mentioned beginning to count how prophecy as a seed. That was prophecy for them to come into rulership. They do, because ultimately Most High used them to exalt judgment on us. That's why he put the wicked in that position for them to do wickedness. Right? Ultimately, we know they went overboard, but he put them in. And that's matter of fact, that's part of the how we know summer is not. Because what is that? When you go to 2 Thessalonians, the man of perdition being revealed. Also, when you go down, it says what? Yahweh shall come is after what? The line wonders and working of Satan, man. Satan is the roots working his line wonders, man. Those signs and wonders showing us that summer is not, man. We getting closer to that end. Esau is working out. Esau is fulfilling what Yahweh shall tell him to do, right? That's why he tell him, don't exalt your horn. You doing what I told you to do. You out here thinking that you bad and boastful. Now I put you there, which I'm going to bring you down as well. But they won't get in that mindset because they got the pride. They got too much pride. They're arrogant, man. But that's why Yahweh shall gonna come and bring all that down.
Just going to that, Daniel, 2nd chapter, verse 28. All right, you can grab it real quick. We're at the end of Esau time, man.
Daniel 2:28.
Start up with 20.
We going.
I'll start 20.
You at Daniel 2? This, and you kind of was missing this. We kind of was going through yesterday. This when Daniel got the interpretation of Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar woke up out of the dream. It woke him up. So he finna tell him like, you know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I seen the mission sickness.
Well, actually, Babylonians, they was took down by a hostile takeover. I want to say, I forgot who. I think who was it? Darius the Mede came in. The hostile takeover. Called actually came in when they took over Babylon.
That's how they called us, man. Winter time. Man, called us like, winter time. You ain't trying to get
caught them, ultimately caught them as well. He came and took them over. Then you go into, that's when you go to the Daniel 7, those beasts. You know, you had the Syrian Babylonian Empire, which, you know, when it goes into he had, like a man that goes to Nebuchadnezzar, because he was the greatest king in the Babylonian Empire. Right, then the next one come up is the Medo-Persian Empire. The Medes was first, the Persians came over, you know, and we're stronger than them. Right, ultimately, we understand that's when the Persians took us back into our land. We built some things and whatnot, but a little history on that. But you know, the Medes, they came in and got it there. But you started verse 22.
So yeah, I started. You said started at 20.
Yeah.
So this is I really. So it's Daniel 2:19. It says, "Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in the night vision. Then Daniel blessed the power of heaven. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of the Most High forever and ever. For wisdom and might are His. And He changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness and the light that dwelleth in Him."
Yeah, I was on a little point in that, looking at verse 21, right? He said he changed the times of the season, he moved to the third king, how to bring about that precept. That's why Esau can't get boastful, man. So that's how you know, and that serpent was cursed with that dust. You know, and that's why it says, and also in Psalms 82, it talks about how they walk on in darkness, because they'll never be understanding, all the understanding to get close to see how they'll never really get it. They think they know, but they don't really know. So they'll be able to understand certain little things that how allow them to, but they'll never really understand the true understanding how we telling them, bro. You only here because Yahweh put you here. That's why we not scared of you. You know, ultimately you ain't gonna be do nothing against us if Yahweh don't allow you to. Right? Which you ain't gonna allow you to do nothing to his elect. That's why we don't fear. You know, we don't fear Esau, you know, we only fear Yahweh because you doing what he said you do. Psalm 17. Y'all the most high sword, man. You know, but I think it's verse 23.
Verse 23, he says, "I thank thee and praise thee, O thou power of my fathers, who has given me wisdom and might, and has made known unto me now that what we desire of thee, for thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter."
Just the inside of that, you know, I think we spoke a little yesterday, but Nebuchadnezzar wanted, he searched out magicians, he searched out all those people to try to break down the dream, but the only one who can break it down is Daniel and Joseph, right? You know, the Most High give it to, well, at this point it's Daniel, but those are the ones who can break down the dream because it's only given to them, man. You know, that spirit was only given up to them to be able to do those things.
Real quick, it's just funny because the precept, or the paraphrasing, wiser than Daniel.
Oh yeah, Esau.
So it's funny that now he actually got he can see your dreams now, so he can actually he don't gotta interpret them. He can see exactly what's going on.
And that kind of going to how the Most High tell him Esau to exalt himself. Right? I'll read this real fast. Ezekiel 28. I started verse 1. Says, "The word of the Lord came again to me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, this is the Lord Yahweh, because thy heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I said, the seed of God in the midst of the seed," referring to the people. Right? "Yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thy heart as the heart of God." So Esau is boasted up, thinking that they're God. They're boasted up. You know, that's why the Most High tell them, man, y'all chill out, man. Y'all thinking y'all a guy. Y'all think y'all doing what y'all is. Ultimately, y'all ain't nothing. My pictures doing what I said y'all do, man. Really, when you go into it, the basis of men, man, the low of the low, right? You know, but they got their heart set up because the Most High has blessed them with, you know, the facts of the earth. That's their blessing. The facts of the earth, the miracles, right? That's why I say the precept that you quoted right here says, "Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There's no secret that they can hide from thee," right? So now they got the technology, right? They smart now. You know how you brought out how they trying to get the little machine where they trying to read people's dreams, capture their dreams, right? But it says, "But with thy wisdom and with thy understanding, that has gotten thee riches, that has gotten thee silver into thy treasure. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic, thou hast traffic to mean business," right? You know, you want to break down, I want to say Ezekiel 17, you know, you go into like business or whatnot, right? This is, you know, the World Trade Center, for instance, that have business with everywhere, everybody trading there, like people, all countries dealing with that, right? That's business, right? But it says, "Hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches." And And that's what Esau. That's why Esau always want to maintain resources. Esau always want to have everything in their possession so they can be strong, because those riches, those power, right? That money, right? It brings them the power, it brings them the boastfulness, right? You know, those elites, those light bearers, they have all that money, that power, they able to control everything, right?
You feel like, again, you feel like there's nothing that,
Yeah.
not even there, there's nothing they can hide from. Right?
Right.
He feel like he got eyes like the Most High, because the Most High see all things. So Esau feel like, you know, he can see anything. It's funny that all is going on, but Trump had mentioned that he want to now release files on UFOs and so-called aliens. Y'all seen that?
Oh yeah, I see that.
Right. So now the devil's preparing to tell you Project Bluebeam. All right, he's gonna tell you, you know, some false miracle, right? Because he got his own chariot, right?
If I'm not mistaken, I saw a video with they was interviewing him. They was like,
Oh, yeah.
He was like, are there aliens? He was like, yeah, they're aliens. He's like, but they not in area 51. But those aliens were supposed to be things that y'all about to finish up, right? But I'm gonna read verse 1 and 2 just to get that context that you referring to. There's only 2 verses. But so Daniel 2 and 1. Just getting the context of the whole matter. It says, in the 2nd year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams when his spirit was troubled and his sleep break from him. Then the king commanded to call the magicians and the astrologers, the sorcerers and the Chaldeans, to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. But again, going through the context, right, they weren't able to do so, so they called on Daniel. Right? So this is what Daniel telling them, skipping down to verse 24. It says, therefore Daniel went into area where the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, destroy not the wise men of Babylon, bring me in before the king, and I will show unto the king the interpretation. Then Ariel brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and thus unto him.
Take us back into our land and we rebuild the temple. But now also in Ezra chapter 4 you read about as well, we rebuild the temple. Most High put the spirit on him, so Cyrus the Great was telling him like, y'all power for the spirit, we need to tell y'all to rebuild the temple.
Verse 25. It says, Daniel 20:25. It says, then Ariel brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the captives of Judah that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king hath demanded cannot the secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers, shew unto the king. But there is a power in heaven that revealeth secrets, and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed. What shall come to pass hereafter? And he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass.
What precept you got?
I'm just finna get 30. You got lost.
Yeah, I'm lost. Okay. Still up. I ain't lying.
No, I'm at 30. He finna reveal the secret. But if y'all got y'all points, man, because you had said bring out 28.
Ain't gonna lie, he started 24 again. I got lost. I thought I ain't know you went back down.
Yeah, I had jumped back down to 24. Daniel 24 says, therefore Daniel went into Ariel, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. And he went and thus unto him, and said thus unto him, destroy not the wise men of Babylon, bring me in before the king, and I will show unto the king the interpretation.
Exactly up. You know, Daniel had told them that he was gonna kill, but they can't tell. He's gonna kill all of them. He can't tell them what the interpretation of the dream was. Right. Let's see it again.
Verse 25 says, Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste. Thus said unto him, I have found a man of the captains of Judah that will make known unto the king the interpretation.
And that's what I wanted. That captain of Judah, how I was just saying, you know, you can read about it in first Ezra, about how it's going into taking down the first temple, right? When Nebuchadnezzar and them come in and take over. Ultimately at that time, the southern kingdom, the northern kingdom was taking over the Assyrians, but they taking over our people, right? When they built that second temple, it's like the first temple. When Solomon built that first temple, just to take it down of that temple, and they come in, let our people captive into their land, and at that time, we under the Babylonians, we under their rule, we captive unto them. So he's going to get Daniel because, and it also shows, the point I want to make, it also shows that ultimately, even at the time, the spirit is only dealing with, the nation of Israel. Even in amongst our captives, even in the time of Lord, how about you, I told you, in the land of our captives, we shall remember ourselves, man. Even amongst ourselves, man, how about you, always dealt with our people. He never turned his back on our people, because our people just want to listen a lot,
Verse 26 says, The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name is Belteshazzar, Art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, The secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, astrologers, magicians, soothsayers, show it unto the king.
Like I was just saying, that spirit really dealing with the Israelites, man. That when we think of Romans 11, how basically take his people, he never turned back on people. He put punishment upon us. It was a righteous judgment. For all the times we went into captivity, it was righteous for us to go into those captivity because our people was bugged out, But over the whole time, the spirit was supping with our people always, right? Those righteous men.
Verse 28, it says, There is a power in heaven that reveals secrets, and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, and what should come to pass hereafter. And he that reveals secrets maketh known unto thee what shall come to pass. You are one of the Verse 30, it says, But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. Verse 32, it says, The image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass.
That breastplate, chest, that shoulders area, that was the Medo-Persian Empire, right? The belly was the Greeks, right? The legs was the Roman Empire, and the feet is what it is now, right? And then what? Babylon the Great, again, America, aka Romans 2.0, right? And the feet is what? The end of the body, right? And that's why we're at the end of what? Esau society, the end of Esau rulership, Esau, world in a sense, right? And that's really what I had wanted. That's what I wanted, man. How we're at the feet, right? How we're at the feet as well, Esau time, and like I said, the summer is not, and that's what we're waiting on. So Esau, the kingdom been going on for 200, America been going on for 250 years, right? So I don't tell, man. Esau's days are numbered.
Yeah, so Revelation 21, and I started verse 1. It says, And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, right? For the first heaven and first earth was passed away. And like the brother was saying, you know, how you was naming, you know, those when you go to Daniel 2, you know, those also in Daniel 7, those beasts, you know, you have the Babylonians, you have the Medo-Persians, you have the Greeks, you have the Romans, which, you know, that little horn with stem, right, is America, right? So ultimately the Roman Empire. Ultimately, we know that Esau is the last ruler of this earth, man. That's why you see a new heaven and a new earth coming, man. Because you had rulers, but all those rulers was brought down to Esau. He's that last ruler who's going to be brought down, right?
That's why we believe that Nero, right, that's who's in office right now, man. They're gonna be the one that, you know, get us out of this place, man. Okay, they're idiots. They in tune with two world powers right now, man, who China and Russia, right? Because they backing up with that Greenland, right? And they also funding Iran, you know, missiles, ICBM missiles and things like that. So, you know, everything is wrapping up, right? And, you know, Nero, him being ignorant and powerful, he don't know that, hey, that this going to be the war that end all wars. You got it.
It says, the first earth was passed away, and there was no more sea. It said, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, right, which is the kingdom of Yahweh Shah, coming down from Yahweh out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband, man. You know, so you got new heaven and new earth, where you had all these rulership with Esau, Edom being that last one, man. And they was in rule, you know, with also when you speak to that, you know, when you go to Second Ezra chapter 11, and you break it down the Caesars, right? You know, you got that lion, how Shai come and tell them, you know, art thou the last ruler of the four beasts? I don't remember the four beasts, which I allowed to reign in my world, or really paraphrase. You know, so these are signs and wonders, man, to show you, man, that we got to defeat this thing. Like brother saying, we at the end of this thing. Somewhere it's not, you know. Esau is the end of the world, Jacob is the beginning of that follow. We in that transitioning period. We in the transition of world, man. Take Ezra 6, I want to say around verse 7 where it goes into that, man.
Go ahead, what you got? You got a pretty repeater.
This will be my quote. Romans 13, verse 11, right, the classic. And the reason that, on the time that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation, and it will believe. How we know that our salvation is there, and it will believe through the signs, man. Right, through everything that's going on around the earth. Now it's time to repent, right, turn back to your house box, you know, shop, right. Now it's time to, you know, prepare your spirit to enter and do everything that we're gonna have to go through, right, and to stay true and sincere in the truth, and continue to make your calling and your election sure. Right, verse 12, the night is far spent. The day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness and let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk honesty, as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness, not in shampooing and wantonness, not in strife and envy, but put ye on the Lord Yahweh Shah and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. So now it's a time to basically to stay the course, right? To finish, you know, down that straight and narrow path, right? Because that's the whole point, you know, of this thing to get to the end, man, you know, to finish the course.
When you go to that night and day, you know, at first Thessalonians goes to that word at night, referring to, you know, at night is the end of the day, day is the beginning of the new day, right? So, referring to the kingdom, remember, it's the night, but in this kingdom, this new day is coming, what? How much shop. I got a close to as well. It's Hebrews 2, and I start at verse 2, and I'm reading NLT, right? It says, for the message of Yahweh, delivered through his angels, always stood firm in every violation of the law, and every act of disobedience was punished. Right? It says, so what makes us think we can escape if we ignore this great salvation? Right? That was first announced by the Lord Yahweh Shah himself, then delivered unto us by those who heard him speak. And Yahweh confirmed this message by giving signs and wonders and various miracles and gifts of the Holy Spirit whenever he chose Yahweh Shah the man. So, you know, going into how you know the summer is not, man, there's signs and wonders. You know, Yahweh Shah is confirming that message, man, through those signs and wonders. We're seeing those rumors of wars, we're seeing those things, he's confirming those messages through things that we're seeing, man. So, you know, how should we escape if we ignore these signs, if we ignore these things, you know? Only way you can escape by taking heed to the word. You know, like the brother read earlier, you know, I want to say it was a Proverbs, man. Sitting in the gate waiting on Yahweh Shah.
Also, these signs
us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. So, Lord willing, we part of that number, and when everything do, when everything do hit, all right, the next season we come in, hopefully we part of that number that way we do reap a righteous reward, right? And with that, Lord willing, this camp is edified. Again, until next time, we'll have to close out. I give it all praise, all honor, and all glory to the Most High. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the others, the great millstone, Shalom, and Shalom to the hopefully elect.